Hey everybody, and welcome to Woodcrest Bonsai. Today I'm going to work on 5 quite old Portulacaria Afra, and they're all in the Shohin size, and they're all kind of in an area where it's like, well, I'll get to them one day. So they're all quite overgrown, much like this guy. If we bring him back, you can see there's not much that's out of the view, and I'm going to cut all that stuff back. So if we look at this guy, this is probably the front, although, in other videos I've said I'm not really married to the fact that either this is the front or this is the front based on the pot. Obviously I guess this could be the front if we brought this up like this and did some manipulation. But today I just want to cut these guys back and make some plans for the future. If we do look at this guy from the side, you see that if this is going to be the apex, it's coming way forward. So that could be wired back up and, wired into here. And if I can do that without my fingers getting in the way, then we have a pretty decent tree. This little branch here has no place for anything, so we take it off. So right away we have first branch, second branch, back branch, something like that. For today, I'm just going to cut them back and, look at them and then see what kind of work they need for the spring. Every one of these is profoundly root bound, and these convex containers that come like this, that make it very difficult to get plants out. I usually use Portulacaria in these kind of containers because Portulacarias have roots that are fairly forgiving. I have some other trees in larger containers with that same kind of inward lip, and those are going to be very interesting. Whoop, let's get them in the center. So if we look at them, it really doesn't look, but this is poking right at us. This is, look at the from the side. So he could definitely come up like that, and we'd have the beginnings of a much better tree. Boing. And I suppose I could do that. You want me to do that? Sure, all right. I will go get some wire because I had not thought of wiring any of these. All right, let's try this one here. Seems to be long enough. Going to anchor it into the soil. Give it a turn and then bring it up. Okay, and then bring him up like that. And see, this is way too heavy, so I'm going to cut it off lower. And we have nice ramification on the first main branch. That could also be worked a little bit. And the second main branch is okay. And then on the top, we're probably going to need to rebuild a new top. In fact, I think I'm going to take everything down a little more. Alright, well that looks so much better. Springtime, root pruning, repotting, and then really start to work on developing this guy. I'm going to do my very best to totally eliminate the I'll get to it one day section of my bonsai. I promise, I'm trying. Here's another one. This is a cool tree. Very nice tree. But it's overgrown. Has beautiful base, good branching. First and second main branch are pretty much in place. So I'm going to shorten all the excess growth on those two. And here's one here. If we look this way, see how it's shooting against the grain? And you never want anything shooting against the grain. You want all your foliage to be going out. So he leaves. And then the same thing on this one here. Another one shooting against the grain. And then just a haircut. I mean, you can see the last time it was cut, we have so much long growth. So that's just me, just not being diligent. And I never am ever going to admit I have too many trees. Never. You'll never get me to admit it. Maybe it's I don't have enough time. Of course, oh, here, I'm still not in the middle. Be in the middle. The middle is right there, right there. Okay, now that's a nice looking tree. Once that grows out, we've got the beginnings of a really nice tree. Is that attached? Yeah, we have this little tiny bit right here, which if it elongates is going to go straight across the trunk. I'm going to pop that out with my fingers. So there you go. Tree number 2. Very nicely done. Okay. Get rid of some of the cuttings. Number 3 is kind of funky. If we take it back, we see it's got a whole bunch of growth. And I say that it's kind of funky because it has 2 extremely low bar branches. And a bar branch is defined as a branch that comes out exactly the same place on the trunk. And typically, visually, that just makes things very confusing for your eye to follow. But I don't know, I may just do this in like the live oak style, keep those 2 and develop it from there. Because I kind of like that, actually. Those 2 lower branches. And then the rest of it is just the same haircut. And this is also a very well-established tree in the pot. Has an interesting apex. It looks like we had some dieback right here. See right there? There's kind of a stump, and then it grew from there. But that kind of gives it a little bit of character. So there you go. There's number 3. And you can tell some of these are old because they have lichens. See the little lichen right there? You can make a tree look really old by the way you manipulate the branches and wire them down and miniaturize the leaves. But this stuff here, you can never artificially stick onto a tree. That just has to come from true age. Okay, look at all the cuttings I'm throwing away. I remember Jim Smith, I did the tour of his garden. He passed away 2016, but he left his collection to Heathcote. And he would tell the story so many times. He would be trimming jade and just throwing the cuttings away because he had some monster jade, so he could end up with like a 3-gallon bucket full of cuttings. And the beginners would be like, oh, you can make cuttings. Do you need 987,000 cuttings? Now, I'm definitely one who loves to take cuttings. But after a certain point, you've only got a certain amount of room, a certain amount of time, and etc., etc. So this is another tree. Fantastic trunk, interesting movement, interesting branches, and overgrown like, what do they say, the Dickens? Is that British? My parents were both British, actually. Came over on the QE2, if you know what the QE2 is. And if you don't know, it's a ship, the Queen Elizabeth, obviously, number 2. Alright, there we go. Let's bring it a little closer. Another really cool tree. We have bar branches. Now these bar branches could be Why can't I think of the word? God, why can't I think of the word? Come on. It's not that hard of a word. Corrected, just by removing this one. Then we have first main branch, second main branch. But I think I'm going to wait until spring to do that. Then we have some strange growth here that's coming across the grain. I could kind of wire that in place like that. But another just fantastic tree that has just been in that, you know, one day I'll get to it. And today's the day. And then the last one, oh, now this is hilarious. This is hilarious. You see that little guy right there? Can we bring it closer? You see what that is? That's a cactus. And if someone can explain to me how in the world a cactus seedling ended up in one of my bonsai pots, you get a Cupid doll, because I have no idea. It almost looks like a seedling dragon fruit. Dragon fruit is a cactus, but it produces an edible fruit. And I do belong to the Tropical Fruit Club, and I do plant dragon fruit seed when I eat the fruit from the club. So that could very well be a renegade seedling. Anyway, kind of comical. Alright, so now back to the tree. And boy, do we have some craziness going on with this one. What is this? I mean, look at this. It goes straight, talk about going against the grain. It not only goes against the grain, it comes all the way out to here. And I think I originally, let me just take that off, because we're certainly not going to keep it. I originally had thought about creating a tree with like swoops, right? So branch that swoops like this and branch that swoops like this. But I don't know. I'm thinking of actually totally taking that off and making it more of a conventional tree, and taking all this off too. I think that is also for future decision making. And what I would do is when I take those off, I've got a pretty nice little cutting. Oh, I just said I don't need cuttings. Don't believe a word I say. Okay. And amazingly enough, it's not windy. I haven't done a video in a couple of days because it was windy like all day long from sunrise to sunset. And I just couldn't get a point in time where it was not windy enough to not just be destroying the audio on the recording. And they're talking about actually even have like a flag blowing really hard in the forecast for like 2 more days. 2 days from now. Super windy again. So what are we gonna do with this guy? See, the sweep is interesting. If it does sweep, they both need to like come up. But I think if we do this and this, we still have a really nice tree. Not much of an apex, but we can build an apex in whatever direction I decide. Probably that would probably make the best apex right there. Although then we don't have a back branch. And all that's decision making for the future. So there you go. 5 really old established Portulacaria that were just under a state of neglect. And I don't want to say neglect because I've certainly been watering them, I've been fertilizing them, but I just haven't pruned them. I hadn't pruned them in many months. And so that's pretty much what will happen. And since I have no plans on ever showing these guys on some kind of display, it's not that big of a deal. Like I said, I'll get to them one day. And today is that day. And today is also Veterans Day, which is my father's birthday. He passed away 10 years ago at the ripe old age of 94, so he had a very good life. So he would have been 104. He was born on the very first anniversary of, well, they call it Armistice Day in England. Okay, so there we go. Another tree. And I left some leaves on one of them, and I think all the rest have no leaves at all. And even though it is the middle of November, we're still getting highs in the 80s. So no root pruning this time of year. So these guys will pop in no time. So that's it for this video. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video. And when you subscribe, you can hit the notification bell. And you'll be able to watch these guys continue on their journey. And I'm really... Actually, let's do another vote on this last one in the comment section. Do you want to keep it sweeping like that? Or do you want to take the sweeps off and make it a shorter tree like that? So sweeping or cut off the sweeps. So vote in the comment section, and then we'll see where we go from there. And when I repot it, I will take the cactus. It's just so funny. I will take the cactus off of there and put it in a pot. You can't really bonsai a cactus. But I had never even seen that before. Who knows how long it's been growing there. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and if you want to vote on whether to keep it sweeping or chop the sweeps off, you can do that in the comment section. And that's it for today. So thank you so much for watching. And I will see you in the next video, as long as it's not 15 miles an hour gusting to 25.